Most people strive for their entire lives to make a sizable salary. The highest earners are generally engineers, doctors, and business executives. But for those who are uninterested in these fields, the United States government offers numerous jobs with prodigious salaries. Today, we're counting down the top 10 highest-paying government jobs in the United States. It's no secret that engineers are well compensated for their work. Chief engineers working for the government are no exception. Just as a chief engineer can have many different working environments, such as an outdoor construction site, an office, or a production factory, they have many responsibilities as well. These often include duties related to the procurement of project resources, the development of plans for the various phases of a project, and overseeing the manufacturing process. There is a high concentration of chief engineers working at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration in Boulder, Colorado. This department is responsible for most of the meteorological information in the United States. As a result, these engineers make an average of $150,000 every year. The highest earner in the country makes $161,000 a year. Most people struggle with high-level mathematics, which is why the government brings in experts and rewards them handsomely for their contributions. A statistician gathers numerical data and then displays it, helping departments to make sense of quantitative data, to spot trends and make predictions. These statisticians work for nearly every department of the government to crunch numbers and make projections. For example, they may look at environmental data for the EPA, inspection data for the FDA, or criminal statistics for the FBI. Because this job requires an advanced degree and years of experience, the average annual pay is $153,214, with the best compensated making $240,000. Though math may seem like a challenging subject in school, it can really pay off if you find yourself in the right career. Perhaps this job title sounds extremely dry, but technical systems managers have enough capital to live an interesting life when they're off the clock. Essentially working as an IT manager, technical systems managers are responsible for the secure and effective operation of all computer systems, related applications, hardware and software that is used within a wide range of public and private sector organizations. Their help is increasingly necessary in a world of highly advanced technological systems that require a knowledgeable individual to ensure everything is functioning smoothly. These managers maintain accounts, security, workflows, secure network connectivity, software, and hardware of financial and human resource management systems. They must have technical knowledge in several fields, like engineering, aerospace, finance, and environmental science. Because of this, they earn $153,430 a year, with the highest earners making close to $200,000. Again, this job may not sound exciting, but it pays the bills and then some. Their work is fairly self-explanatory. When an inventor wants to patent their work, they send it to the government, where a patent administrator evaluates it. They draft all types of patent-related documents and forms, as well as varied correspondence, memos, and presentations, as well as design, implement, and manage an electronic filing system for patent-related documents within the US Patent and Trademark Office. This job is extremely important because it affects the way intellectual property is treated in the United States, which has far-reaching repercussions. Patent administrators make $161,000 a year, and the most experienced can make over $187,000 per year. And bear in mind, it could lead to different work. After all, Albert Einstein worked in a patent office. In the United States, an administrative law judge, or ALJ, serves as the judge of fact who presides over administrative hearings. They have the power to administer oaths, make rulings on evidentiary objections, and render legal and factual determinations. Administrative law judges who work for the Social Security Administration render decisions on Social Security disability claims at the hearings level. While the job description might sound obtuse, these judges are present to fill in the legal gaps between legislation and law. They rule on regulations and give professional opinions on the validity of certain claims. Obviously, this requires a law degree and further specialized training. Thus, the average administrative law judge earns $163,000 every year. Though they don't always work for the government, nurse anesthetists are some of the most highly compensated government officials. They are nursing staff who administer anesthesia and other medications. They also monitor patients who are receiving and later recovering from anesthesia. They have acquired a master's degree focusing on anesthesia, completed extensive clinical training, and passed a certification exam approved by the National Boards of Certification and recertification of nurse anesthetists. Some of their responsibilities include providing pain management, assisting with stabilization services, and overseeing patient recovery. These services may be used through all phases of surgery and for diagnostic, obstetrical, and therapeutic procedures as well. Due to their advanced training and the weight of their responsibilities, nurse anesthetists are generally well-compensated professionals. In case you're wondering why these nurses would work for the government and not a private hospital, some opt to work for government entities, like the Veterans Health Administration. They average $167,818 a year. Another patent job with a huge paycheck is that of the patent attorney, making $170,079 a year on average. They far outperform most other professions in the United States. In civilian life, patent attorneys, also known as patent agents, secure and help to protect the granting of patents for their clients. But when working for the government, they have a very different job description. Though they have a similar skill set, government patent attorneys review laws and trade agreements and look for potential improvements using their expertise. You do not need a law degree. A degree in science, engineering, technology, or mathematics-based subject is strongly preferred. A science or engineering background is required to enable you to understand the subject matter at hand. You will learn the necessary law on the job. Another polysyllabic job title to explain an equally complicated position, securities compliance examiners have a hyper-specific focus that earns them $181,013 annually. They perform a wide variety of work, ranging from examining financial statements in public filings and finding solutions to the most difficult and controversial accounting issues to rule writing and participating in enforcement investigations. With a background in finance or accounting, these individuals have usually worked for many years in the financial sector before they move into government work. They're searching for frauds, which can have devastating effects on people's life and finances. Because of this, their work is extremely vital and can potentially save billions of dollars for both taxpayers and the government itself. Federal judges are better compensated than members of Congress and don't need to rely on re-election to maintain their positions. Perhaps this is one of the more comprehensible jobs on the list because most people are familiar with the responsibilities of a judge. Federal judges work to ensure equal justice under the law. They are the highest-ranking members of the judicial branch and attempt to interpret the law and the Constitution as cases are applied to ever higher courts, culminating in the Supreme Court. The Constitution sets forth no specific requirements for this job. However, members of Congress, who typically recommend potential nominees, and the Department of Justice, which reviews nominees' qualifications, have developed their own informal criteria. Their salaries range from $210,900 to $270,700, the highest amount belonging to the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. This shouldn't come as a huge shock. People are quick to criticize politicians for graft and corruption, but regardless of your stance, they are extremely well compensated. The average member of Congress makes $174,000 every year, but that figure quickly goes up if these politicians earn leadership positions. The Senate majority and minority leaders each make $193,400, while the Speaker of the House makes $223,500 a year. In case you're curious about the executive branch, the Vice President earns $243,500 a year, while the President makes $400,000 a year. And bear in mind that while the President gets free rent for 4 and sometimes 8 years, they also need to pay for their own groceries and furnishings. This is a small price to pay when you're making almost $500,000 every year.